Next, I'm just going to play for you a section of the original video that I actually completely agree with and couldn't really have said it better myself.
Deflation counterintuitively, the line is going up, which makes it look like a good thing, but it's only good if you already have the currency in hand. As the purchasing power of a currency increases, typically because cash gets more scarce, the cost of goods and labor goes down. A deflationary economy punishes buying things, as anything that you buy today will inevitably be cheaper to buy in the future. If you need to buy things that aren't financial assets, things that don't appreciate in value, like food, clothing, rent, vehicles, transit fare, you screw yourself over. This is hyperdeflation, and it's not only designed into cryptocurrencies with their hard cap on total coin supply, but considered desirable by their creators and evangelists. This is what going to the moon means.
This is exactly why a highly deflationary currency really shouldn't be used as medium of exchange on the level of a whole economy. Now, some economists have argued that smaller rates of deflation, maybe even 2-3% a year consistently, might potentially be okay, but only if you can guarantee it doesn't go any further past that. There's a reason the Fed intentionally targets a 2 to 3% inflation rate. It's not because they just couldn't possibly do it, it's because it's classically seen as not desirable. Now, there's actually a few reasons this is bad. And one, like Folding Ideas mentioned earlier, is that by slowly, or not slowly, increasing the purchasing power of an asset over time, you actually disincentivize spending. Why would I spend this dollar now when I can buy twice as much for that same dollar in a couple of months? It's dumb to do that. I should hold on to it and not spend it. This decreases the velocity of money in an economy, and ultimately that hurts businesses because money is not changing hands, and especially small businesses. And this leads to a contraction in the economy. That's why deflationary monetary policy is thought of as contractionary policy. The second reason, and this is becoming a more relevant consideration every single day, is the horrific effect that large amounts of deflation would have on debtors. And who might that be? Well, these days, pretty much everyone. Everyone from students taking out large student loans that they can't yet repay, to homeowners taking out multi-decade mortgages, to nation states with large amounts of debt compared to their GDP on their balance sheets. Everyone. Deflation, especially at high rates, can be an existential threat to everyone that has large debt. And if you happen to be a business that sells goods that are denominated in a deflationary currency, your prices are dropping, and therefore your revenues are dropping, and your ability to repay your debts is going down over time. If this happens, the idea is that the economy would essentially collapse on every imaginable level, which is a problem. We really should call the deflationary ones crypto assets and not cryptocurrencies, because ultimately we shouldn't want them for that. Use them as a reserve asset in treasuries? Sure. Put them in your investment portfolio? Sure. Use them for transactions if you feel like it while building out an infrastructure for the unbanked? Sure. As long as regularly audited and over-collateralized stablecoins are readily available. But requiring businesses to accept them as legal tender while transitioning an entire economy to a deflationary currency en masse? I mean, that's a dangerous game. In a smaller economy with a more modest debt to GDP ratio, you might be able to get away with that if you focus on building out your infrastructure. And given that this is a new experiment entirely that's never been tried before, that's a big maybe.